These shirts are even better for the microphones. They're more microphone friendly because that tighter neck. It's nice. All right, so today we're doing a little Q&A, third grade edition, third grade style, answering straight off the cuff. And this comes from the Episcopal Day School and Libby's third grade classroom. Ask questions about the footwear business, of which we will oblige the answers to. And I have looked into them very briefly, so these questions aren't answered. I got a nose hair in my mustache. It's in my nose. Gotta trim this mustache. It's getting out of control. So yeah, there you have it. Today we answer questions from Miss Libby's third grade classroom. Let's rock. Throw me the first one.
How long does it take to make one?
Okay, so I'm gonna assume that one is referring to a pair of shoes, and how long does it make? Well, that's a two-part question, I would say. It doesn't take very long at all to make a shoe. In fact, it probably takes about, less than, well, oh, this one's deeper than I thought. Okay, it's a three-parter answer. So one is they have to source the individual parts, sometimes from different areas. So the midsole is sourced from one supplier, the fabric is sourced from another supplier, and maybe even something like the laces are sourced from another supplier. So you can imagine that it's more of a coordination thing that you have to take care of than how long it takes to put together a shoe, because it probably takes all of a few seconds to inject the midsole with the foam. Looks like a big waffle machine. You inject the foam into those waffle machines. That doesn't take very long at all. And the people who make the uppers, they're pros. They sew very quickly. These things can come together in a matter of a few minutes, to be totally honest. And then they put the adhesive on the midsole and the upper. And the whole process doesn't take very long at all. That being said, the thing that takes the longest is the amount of time to get them from the supplier to us here in the United States. Often footwear is produced in Asia, and so there's a long transit time. So anywhere between, once you place an order, can take up to many months to get them in. Hope that answers that question.
Is it expensive to buy the parts?
Oh, yeah. Is it expensive to buy the parts? I would say it's not expensive to buy the parts. The shoe doesn't cost very much at all, They're relatively economical to buy, but what costs a lot is the amount of shoes that you would have to buy to build a business with. So, the way that you would purchase a shoe these days is that they're produced for, let's say, $20. And then the manufacturer or, like the brand would sell those shoes to a retailer for around $40, and the retailer would sell them for $80. So, there's typically a markup to accommodate for that. But, at Atreyu, we sell them direct to consumer and take some of that fluff out of the middleman, out of the picture. So that's why we have such a bang up business that we think is very efficient.
Do you use Velcro?
Oh, love Velcro. We use Velcro, but not on the shoes. We use Velcro on our new hat prototype. All right. Velcro is awesome. There you have it on the back of the hat. This is our new hat we're working on, and it's a good application for Velcro If we used Velcro instead of laces, we think that'd be pretty cool too. Maybe we'll incorporate it into a future model. But right now we use laces, a little bit more economical. Laces cost less than Velcro would. Maybe not by much, maybe $1 or pennies or something like that, but every penny matters when you're producing thousands of them. So yeah, Velcro's awesome, but maybe we'll build a shoe one day with it.
What makes it expensive?
The amount of shoes you have to purchase to build a business. In this case, it can be in the many thousands to an order. And so even if your shoes cost anywhere between $15 and $25, you got to order a couple thousand of them to even find a factory that will produce them. That's called the minimum order quantity. And the MOQ is what dictates whether or not the factory will produce your line of shoes that you design and create. So in that case, that's the most expensive thing, is buying them in bulk.
What is the softest material you can use for shoes?
I'm going to go ahead and divert this to the midsole. I think the softest material you can use is, well, that's up for debate these days. So softness would be dictated by what's called the durometer, and that's a measure of basically the firmness of a particular material. In this shoe, we're using EVA. It's a special kind of EVA treated with CO2, which turns it into a supercritical EVA. But that'll probably be covered later down the road for you guys in your schooling projects. But that being said, EVA is very soft. It can be soft with a softer if you request a lower durometer. Is the measure of basically the firmness of the material. So EVA can be anything from, these are tuned to about 50 C, and once you get down into the 40s and lower, then they become very, very soft and almost not great for running, but really great for feeling comfortable and lounging around in. Other materials include TPU, thermoplastic polyurethane. A lot of the shoes that you guys might have on might have a little bit of TPU in them, but nonetheless, the softer the material has to do with the Sure rating and also what kind of material you use. We like EVA.
What do you use on the bottom?
Nothing. So on these, you can use, on the bottom you can actually use traditional, so the bottom would be called the outsole. And the outsole would traditionally, this is a midsole, and the outsole would be on the outside of the midsole or the bottom. And that would be just a great rubber that you guys are probably used to. And we actually use just straight EVA, which is a little bit atypical of a lot of footwear. We do this because, you know, it's an option to do that. So the bottom can either be rubber or, in our case, outsole grade EVA, which is where the durometer is high enough to where it withstands lots of use and wear. Sounds really technical, but it's not. It's all stuff that you guys could learn if you really, really were interested in it.
How can you make them faster?
Yeah, so it's all about the beholder of the shoe. It's not necessarily about how fast the shoe can take you. We like to tell people that they're all that they need, and the true strength and speed and everything comes from our own bodies and our own aerobic conditioning and our own muscular systems, and we make the shoes go fast. A great shoe, however, is balanced. It's light, it's lightweight. The lighter the shoe, the more steps you can take efficiently. That's called cadence or turnover. So the lighter the shoe, the higher the cadence, the higher the turnover. A proper cadence is anywhere in the 180s. Recent study, I think, said 182 is very optimized, even into the 190s. So that's BPM, which is beats per minute. So the shoes need to be an extension of our natural abilities, and that's kind of the way it goes. But yeah, I hope that makes a little sense. We just like to make a nicely balanced shoe with nothing to hold you back.
Is it hard to make shoes?
Well, that's a good question. I'm going to go ahead and take this into a little bit of philosophy land, and anything worth doing is very difficult a lot of the times. So the work to design the shoe, to create a good platform, to make what's called a technical drawing or a tech pack can be a lot of hard work, a lot of learning. But once you get it down and you can send something like your drawings or your shoes into manufacturing, then that work becomes very rewarding because you get a shoe at the end of the day that's built by folks that are experts in sewing and operating heavy machinery and operating all of the machines and tools needed to build one of these things. So each one of these parts is put together by a different person on the factory line. Like I said, the midsole comes from the midsole supplier or the foam supplier, and those typically they arrive, and that meets up with the folks that sewed the pattern on to the upper and then the adhesive. So it is a lot of work, but just like anything, I think that the work is always worth it if we pick the right goals, and I never shy away. I don't think anybody should shy away from hard work as long as that hard work is not complex, because complexity is not a good thing to be working at finding solutions through. So good work equals output. Output is like where we want to go, and I'd say that building something like a shoe, it takes a great amount of hard work to put together and to bring it to life. But once that system is in place, or once we create a way of doing things, then we get to go focus on something else and put the work into something else and keep building our experiences. Just like you would do, what you're learning in the 3rd grade is different from what you learned in the 2nd grade. If I remember correctly, we were learning how to write in cursive, and all of our teachers were telling me that I couldn't use a pen next year. In the 3rd grade, they said, well, in the 4th grade, you're not going to be able to use a pen or a pencil. You have to use a pen. That's what they said. And I was like, well, I don't even know what that means. So I can't make mistakes anymore? And that just wasn't the case. The truth was that I don't even know why they asked us to do that, to be totally honest with you. So I still like pencils. Regardless, the things that we learn in 3rd grade are different than 2nd grade. We just keep stacking and stacking and stacking. So keep moving forward, keep building your building blocks, because that creates wisdom, and keep doing your thing.
What inspired you? Where do you get your ideas from?
Oh. Inspiration, I think, comes from something that is a very special place. I think that what drives us to become the men and women that we want to become, or the students that we want to become, or the people that we want to become, can be very, 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 we don't always know when the opportunity presents itself. And we have to be ready for the opportunity. So inspiration can come from a lot of places. It can come from limitations. How do we make the best of what we have? How do we run the fastest with our own bodies? How do we create a shoe when we don't necessarily know how? And we have to keep learning and learning and learning. So inspiration comes from goals, and setting great goals and trying to achieve them one step at a time. One step at a time is, I believe, something that can be very awesome with our lives and get us to where we want to be as we grow up. So instead of shooting from, oh, we don't all just become Olympians one day. We work very, very slowly at becoming better at our craft, or we don't always get into a great college. It's not just, you don't just get to arrive at a great college, you have to apply. You have to learn all the things that you're learning today. So I think inspiration comes from goals and how we want to build our own self-esteem and what type of esteem we choose to aspire to achieve. My inspiration comes from running. I found a lot of joy in running, and I found that a lot of the footwear that I was buying at the time was very expensive, and I wanted to know if we could make something more economical or cheaper, for another word, but also as great of a product, if not better, for the job. So it was a goal. It was a simple task that I thought would be a lot of fun to do. So I hope that makes a lot of sense. We can draw inspiration from anybody, friends, family, work, school, what you're doing, things that have harmed us, things that we've won, things that we've failed at. So inspiration, you just always got to be ready. Louis Pasteur said that chance favors the prepared mind. So we have to be very, very ready to accept the challenge if inspiration comes calling. So always be prepared, always, always be prepared for that opportunity to follow up on your inspiration. That's what I think.
Do you use machines?
I use machines all the time, but I don't use, to produce the shoes is probably what they're talking about. Do you use machines? Absolutely. Sewing machines, injection machines that are like big waffle machines, kind of, that you put the foam into, called a clamshell mold. Lots of sewing machines, lots of injection molding machines. Big factory lines where they produce millions of shoes a year on these big industrial factory lines, leveraging all kinds of crazy machines. So yeah, there's lots of machines that are used in production, as far as, because from our standpoint, we're in Austin, Texas, but the shoes are produced in Asia. So our partners in Asia use the machines. We use other machines like computers and the internet and Instagram and all that great stuff. So like you guys probably do or will soon. That's it's a different kind of machine, I suppose. We're doing the business machines as opposed to the industrial machines.
And last but not least, where do you get the colors?
Well, the colors are what I would say to be the cherry on top. It's the idea that done the work to produce a great functional product first. We don't design from colors first. We design from what's the purpose, what's the use of the product. How do we intend that an athlete would want to run in our shoes, or go out in town on the shoes, or go to PE in the shoes, whatever you can think of. Function always comes first. And if we do a good enough job with the function, then we get to, have a lot of fun with the colors. So the colors come from the EVA that I mentioned can be mixed, almost like food coloring. So you have dyes that you can put into the EVA. In this case, it was a mixture of a red food coloring, so to speak, or a red dye that went into the EVA mix. I wanted, underneath this black upper is white fabric. So this is used what's called sublimation printing. And that's pretty much, it's like a printer that you would use at home, and you can print colors on top of the shoes because the fabric accepts that type of printing. So any color you want to use, we can use it. And that's where they come from. They come from printers, they come from overlays that you put adhesives and dyes for the midsole, but we draw inspiration, the artistic elements of the shoe we build as a team, or I'll build as a designer, or sometimes you'll have seasonal colors and things like that. But yeah, colors just come from, that's that creative spot that when the real kind of work is done, then you can layer that final stage on with creativity. And so the colors come from our creativity. And there you have it. That's a shoe business for third grade class, building exercise extraordinaire. My name is... That's it. I hope that answers you guys' questions. This is basically, you just learned how to start your own shoe company. I hope that a lot of you guys, if you're interested in it, follow paths like these in your lives and build whatever you want to build in your life. Don't let anybody hold you back and tell you that you can't, because all you got to do is put one foot in front of the other. Start at the beginning, learn the basics, be yourself, always do the right thing, make the next right decision, and maybe you'll pull off your own shoe company yourself. But yeah, thank y'all for asking these great questions. I hope your third grade experience is going well. Get ready. They're probably going to make you use pins next year. And while that seems daunting, I don't know if it really was. I think I made too big of a deal out of it. And it wasn't daunting at all. What was daunting is the amount of stuff that they made me read, and that was a lot of books. So it takes a long time sometimes to read all those books. But I'm glad I did it. And other than that, are y'all still writing in cursive? I don't know if they make you do that anymore. Do y'all have computers? Do they have computers? We didn't have computers in class.
Third grade?
They probably have like iPads.
Do they still carry around books? Do y'all still carry? I'm gonna ask y'all some questions. Do you still carry around books in huge backpacks? Give me back problems. I was probably in the 6th grade. I had a bad back. Do y'all still have to return those books? I'm sure they still have textbooks.
Chalk versus dry erase versus smartboards.
Chalk, dry erase, or smartboard? Lay it on me.
Trapper keepers.
Bag milk. Y'all still got the bag milk? Nobody knows what the bag milk is in Texas. Or at least these city slickers don't. We used to have the milk in the bags with the little, the straw coming out of them. And plate lunches, those molded plates, like the trays for the lunches, do they still use those? Now that's a crazy business. Same kind of molds as they would use for the midsoles, they probably use for those trays. Probably a fiberglass mold. You never know. Good in the washer, industrial dishwasher safe. But yeah, do they still make y'all eat lunch, or y'all on some type of crazy diet that I don't even know about? And do y'all still take naps? We used to take naps.
In 3rd grade?
Not in 3rd grade, maybe not in 3rd grade.
Kindergarten had nap time.
Recess. What's up with the PE regimen these days?
Yeah.
Are y'all going full on Instagram, or like what's happening? Are we in it to win it? And yeah, I don't know, maybe they have like microchips planted in their brains right now. I don't know. You never know. They're probably doing some crazy stuff that we don't know about yet, accelerating the brilliant young minds of tomorrow.
Ask them if Pogs are back in.
Oh, do y'all know about Pogs? Pogs are a big deal. Skating rinks, those still around. What do y'all do on the weekends? Do y'all do anything on the weekends, or y'all just sit around on Instagram? Do y'all have phones and can you use them in class?